Hi there, and welcome to another episode of Democracy Theater, where I, Rich Scott, explore the intersection of comedy and politics. What happened here? Brilliant Idiots put out a podcast today, and the headlines on that is Girlies in Space Corporate Tax Avoidance is Theft. Wait, what? Hmm. Interesting. And El Salvador deportation confusion. Well, that's certainly politics. Can we all agree on that? So let's give it a spin, and I will then react as we go. Share the screen. All right. Yeah, let's go. I appreciate both of these. Obviously, Charlemagne the God has been, what is he like the? I don't know, right? But he's a radio personality, obviously been doing the podcast for 15, 20 years, right? But he's a radio personality a la Howard Stern, right? And then obviously Andrew Schulz, who is a stand up comedian, actor. Yes, also actor. And yeah, and kind of seems like doing the same philosophy as Joe Rogan. Rising water lifts all boats, so it seems like there's a lot of people that he is taking care of and helping with their careers and so forth and so on. So literally, just seem to be two good guys. But anyway, I digress. Can I just say there is nothing in the world that has interested me less. I don't think I've. I mean, I've seen a couple of pictures. The thing where Katy Perry bent down and kissed the ground was like forced into my feed. So obviously, hello, I saw that, and okay, there we go. Oh my goodness. Well, hopefully the AI will pick that up. Yeah, so I don't really care. I might not even post this part of it if I edit it all out because I honestly don't give a shit about this. So anyway, let's go. I honestly don't care about it. Don't you want to know? Don't you want to know? If nothing else, they should they should have a Patreon. I guess a Patreon account is what these big podcasts do, right? So they should have one of those where you get. What did he say? They should if they had any balls. Cause it's the dumbest fucking thing ever. Who like honestly, who gives a fuck? Like a bunch of billionaires just fucking joyriding to space when we could be doing something massive, like on an international scale with states like China and Russia and the United States building something massive in space instead of all this competitive bullshit. Like, honestly, I haven't. I don't fucking read either then because I haven't heard that. How that? How the fuck is this not the biggest story in the world ever? How is there any pictures? No pictures? That seems like a big deal. How is this not the biggest? How am I fucking first hearing about this now? How is this not the biggest story in the world? Who gives a shit about these blue origin hop into near Earth orbit? Money did not help. Jeff Bezos' wife out. Body dysmorphia is a thing. We all have it to some extent, but Jesus, Jesus. I gotta figure out if I have access to that. I'm watching that tonight. Fly me to the moon. No. Who? What? Again, like what? How much time did like 11 minutes? 11. All right. For those of you who are not familiar with the podcast, this is a running joke that goes throughout the podcast where they try to set. I mean, especially try to set Charlemagne up for some kind of dick joke. So it's a running it's a it's a running thing. You know he prepared. You know Schultz prepared for that for sure. Anyway, for just FYI. Oh my God, that's Bill Burris. That's silly. That's absolutely. That is absolute. That's absolutely silly. That's exactly why you can't open the door from the inside because you do not want. Like there's like a thing where you can blow the door open in case of an emergency, but no, you don't just. I mean, and again, I don't know. Maybe there isn't that one. So what the fuck? I take that back. I haven't been in that spacecraft. Maybe there is. Oh my God. Well, fucking money is fungible. It's like water. It seeps into everywhere. What the fuck is he talking about? He should know that. He's fucking too old, too rich to not know that. No, billionaires don't become billionaires by using their money. It's OPM, other people's money. It's always other people's money. That's how they get rich, right? They don't take a salary. They borrow money against their stocks. That way they never pay income taxes, right? But they still live a fucking life of the billionaire. It's amazing. Amazing. I tell you, amazing. That's the entire point. Bezos and Elon didn't pay for the decades, decades of space research that NASA has. But they received all of it for free, right? And why are we doing that? The Chinese just did something with some kind of satellites and they're put in some kind of orbit that now makes it possible for them to communicate faster with deep space or Mars. And we're sending some chicks up to fucking inner space? Like, it's a fucking joke what's going on here. No, it's stupid. Oh, yeah. And every one of those celebrities, I guarantee you, they're all like, green this and green that and, whatever. Fucking the carbon footprint. Again, if I had a producer and whatever, I would have known that before this. Well, actually, I didn't know because I didn't watch this before. We're watching it together. Actually, true. But yeah, anyway, it's a fucking waste. It's no. Sorry. Holy. Ooh, Andrew. I didn't know you had that in you. Go on. Yes, when we're all fucking barely getting by, we don't want to see celebrities and the uber rich who have been plundering this country to become rich to flaunt their fucking wealth in our face with pointless fucking trips to inner space. Really? That needs to be said? What the? Yeah, but you're missing his point here. You're missing his point. These people, with the benefit of the educational system, private and public, but even the private, as we know now, are funded by government money, as we know, because Trump is cutting off money to Harvard, right? So the benefit of that, the benefit of our infrastructure, the benefit of our legal protections for their intellectual property, they build companies. And then the moment they become wealthy and rich, they leave. That's his point. That's not even just about taxing. That's about staying here and paying the taxes into the nation that made it possible for you to become as wealthy as you are. That's At least the point I hear here. This wasn't set up by the Biden administration. Like life didn't start when he was delivered by his mom, right? Life started way before this. This this really took on a shape and with Ronald Reagan and the conservative revolution with Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher. This is the implementation of trickle down economics. But really, if you want to go back to it, it really truly started with Nixon's trip to China. You know, this is we have a uniparty. They serve one master, hence democracy theater, right? One master. That's it. One master, the people that pay. There's a study that indicates that. And I fucking hate there's no pause button here because then I could look it up. Anyway, so that says that we're an oligarchy. Yeah, but that's just signaling, right? Democrats, when they have no power, say all the right things. When they get in power, do none of the right things, right? How's that saying they go? Democrats, they promise you something, you give them the power, they deliver nothing, they get out of power, they promise you something, they get into power, they deliver nothing, right? That is the circle of life in America. Perfectly said. Perfectly said. Perfectly said. This is what people come to me, my mom and other people. Why are you always going after this or that? I'm like, I'm going after the people that promises me the policies that I'm for and never fucking deliver. And I'm very clear about that. I want a floor. I want a floor for all Americans. Nobody falls below that. And it should be pretty damn high in the richest, most powerful country the world has ever seen. Dude, like, yeah. I appreciate Schulz's comedy. I like his stand up specials. I like his crowd work. He's funny. He kind of has the type of humor that the Gen X generation grew up with, where you made fun of everybody. Like one of my childhood's best friends on a vacation, we rasped him so much that he fucking that he cried. I feel so bad about it now, right? But I mean that and we love each other and we loved each other. It wasn't about that. I'm sure we had fucking damage, but hey, listen, we're Gen X, so it is what it is. But here, Schultz is right. What the fuck? But what's the point? Democrats never deliver. Tell me one thing that Democrats have delivered on. One. I bet you can't name one thing where they have delivered what they promised. Well, that's interesting, right? So if I put on a tin hat, I'm going to say, wait, oh my God, are we now getting the normalization of this strongman rule? Is that what they're just throwing it in there a little bit into the conversation, just gradually? We're all being made comfortable with the idea of the strongman rule? Or is he just being hyperbolic here and saying, well, what the fuck is the point of voting? Which is a good question in America. Like I've never seen and you know there's some truth to the things that Elon says. Like and there is not a country where things have like where it's been so easy to block things that needs to be done politically. Charlemagne the God seems to want to skate past this, right? So if you're an American citizen and you're abroad, you not only have to pay your income tax in the country that you're working in, you also have to pay income tax in the United States of America. Let that sink in. Elon Musk has shit going on in China and in Europe and in South America. I don't find everywhere, right? Is he paying any income tax whatsoever? No, not even a little bit. Ooh, like this is the first real kind of break with this very right. I really hate to frame it in left and right, but it's certainly in an economically right wing turn or in a more Trumpian turn in stand up comedy. That's interesting. This is interesting. This right here is interesting. That conversation hasn't. Yes, that conversation has been happening, but what's happening here is more interesting. Schulz is absolutely part of the uh, of the uh, of the Brogan sphere. I don't. He would have made it anyway. Clearly, it boosted him and it made it go faster. His association and friendship with Joe Rogan, but he would have made it regardless of Joe Rogan, right? But the same with Sean Gillis would have made it regardless of Joe Rogan. Their talent is undeniable. Others, they're still funny, but would they have made it as? Would they have become as big as they are without Joe Rogan? I guess is the question. I think that the two I just mentioned, Gillis and Andrew Schulz, would have. But this is also kind of breaking a little bit, right? With what goes on in Austin and that crowd right now. Oh, oh! There's nobody that can say it like that, is there? Hey, we voted for Democrats, we put them in fucking office, and they did nothing. Nothing. That's called it. But that's why we got rid of tariffs in the first place, because it was the most corrupt system ever. Because you had one person sitting there and saying, yeah, you can pay tariffs, but you can't in the same industry. By the way, isn't that what Republicans say they're not supposed to be doing? That the government is not supposed to be picking winners and losers? Isn't that what they're saying? Right? But here we are, Trump picking winners and losers. All of you, like, I very, very briefly brushed up against some of the very big marketers of drop shipping and selling on all the social thing, and we can talk about the quality and the fact that they get all that shit from China and blah 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 blah. We can talk about these, but these are some talented people that build some monster businesses that are now being destroyed, while not in collectiveness, not that we all have to pay a price, but no, if you can go to Mar-a-Lago and then your shit is exempt. Like, that's a fucking problem. That's why we got rid of it in the first place. Boom, boom. But get what they want, whereas even with an 80% majority of Americans wanting something, it is not a guaranteed that the politicians would make sure that we get it. Really, money in politics. Money in politics. I love that Andrew is using the word stealing. I like him even better. It is stealing. I like that he uses that word stealing. It's fucking blunt. It's real. It's right in your face, and it's a fact. I love it. Money in politics. Money in politics. Money in money in politics. I'm just saying, money in fucking politics. Right? Gerrymandering and money in politics. Fix gerrymandering and get money out of politics, and we would fix America. You wouldn't even have to change anything. You wouldn't have to change anything. You wouldn't. Gerrymandering, gerrymandering, which is this shaping districts into ways that guarantees you an outcome. That's what's pulling this country apart, right? Because if you have a well mixed a mixture of right and left and centrist and whatever, then you have to appeal to everybody. But if your district is all fucking blue, all red, then All you have to worry about is somebody coming from, if you're a Democrat, you have to worry about somebody coming from your left. And if you're a Republican, you have to worry about somebody coming from your right. So you're obviously going to become even more extreme. And then you can't actually talk to anybody or you can't actually do anything, right? Because, hey, shit, that's just the way it is, right? Because you want to get reelected because you got that one thing that you can do. And you convince yourself that there's something you can do. No, it's not. Elon Musk should not be in charge of Doge, or he could be in charge of Doge. It doesn't matter whether who is in charge of Doge. It's how it's done. Again, there's a million things that could be done. Bunch of red tape that needs to be getting away. We need to have a Manhattan-like project into fusion technology and nuclear technology and all kinds of things, right? But and Elon could easily do that, even with all his conflicts of interest of conflicts of interest, right? But wow, I am loving this fucking. I am loving this podcast. My goodness, here we go. Walmart being called out too. Yes. So if you don't know what goes on, Walmart, and I mean, he's going to explain it too, but it seems like it anyway. But that's true. Here in California, one of the largest drains on the budget is Medicaid that has to be given to people that actually work at McDonald's but can't get the hours in full time. Well, all right. Then there's one more thing. Excuse me. Money in politics, gerrymandering. Shit. Friggity frack. I'm going to go back a little bit because I forgot my train of thought here. Right. My God. Money in politics, gerrymandering, and then fiduciary responsibilities to the stockholders has to be changed. That there has to be a fiduciary responsibility to the to the area in which they're in, to their employees, as well as the stockholders. But none of these things are exclusionary, right? But that's the things that needs to be changed right there, right? So, but the fiduciary responsibility, gerrymandering, and money in politics. You fix that, and we can. You get a go a long, 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 long way to get America back on track. Oh my God, everything is wrong. Oh my God, you didn't have to spell it out. We got it eventually. You didn't. You didn't have to spell it out. We got it eventually. That was quick. He's not a comedian, but it was quick. He hangs out with comedians. We need to get back to a place in America with shared responsibility, right? We have to get back to a place where everybody has a part in our society. Everybody pays in, everybody pays taxes. Yes, then there are benefits for the people amongst us who are doing not doing well, who needs help, who needs assistance. But everybody has to pay taxes. We all have to be part of this. Nobody should be tax exempt, but we should pay people a salary, a living wage, and then when there's need for assistance, they should be able to get it without being fucking embarrassed and have to through jump through a ton of freaking hoops. People want to make freaking money. People are vain. They want to have the numbers on their paycheck, and nobody's gonna. If you again, if everybody pays taxes, then it doesn't really matter, right? Progressive, the more you make, the more you should pay, obviously. So he's really talking about the managerial class, right? He's not, but I guess that's become the middle class because he's not talking about teachers, right? He's not talking about the sanitation workers, right? That's not who he's talking about, right? He's talking about the managerial class, the people that are making 100. and 50,000, right? But most people are making 50, $60,000 a year, right? That I think that's like the median income is like 60, 50 or $60,000, something like that, right? Nobody. What he's protecting here is the managerial class. Him. He's protecting himself. He's protecting himself. That's fair. Well, so here's the thing, right? We should stop worrying about what the people at the top make, right? We should say, fine, but before you can make as much as you can make, here's a floor, right? Nobody in America lives beneath this level. That we don't have to cap, like deliberately go out and cap. We have to say, hey, listen, we're Americans, we're America. Nobody in our country gets to live beneath this. Everybody has a place to live. Everybody has food on the table. Everybody can get an education if they need to. Everybody can go see a doctor if they need to. And then when there's jobs to be had, then they go out and work, and then they take care of themselves. And then if something happens, God forbid, then we are there to take care of each other. This is not fucking, it's not rocket science, but we're so punitive in this country. Everything is about punishing, especially the poor, especially the people on the lower part of the economic scale. Everybody remember what Obama did, right? What was those we shit? You're not middle class. Oh man, I mean, listen, I like you, but you're not middle class, brother. You're not. But your solidarity is appreciated because they pay them. They pay their campaigns. They make sure that nobody runs against them. They're never going to tax them. Money out of politics. Money out of politics and gerrymandering. You might not even have to change the fiduciary responsibilities if you, as Andrew suggests, you are taxed no matter where you move your factory to on your profits in America. Like if you go or I go and work overseas, we still have to pay taxes in America. Ugh. No, we had a period in time right after World War II where there was some economic parity in America, and there wasn't this enormous wealth gap that we have today. So that's not true. But we also had a 90% top income tax, right? And there was no way of hiding your wealth in the same way. I mean, I'm sure there was way that they could hide their wealth, but it's just been like America is literally is the country where bribery has been made legal. And by the way, for another video, we can talk about how Trump has removed any, any of the people that's supposed to keep check on who's corrupt or not and what is corrupted. No, there's a difference of what's going on now here. There is a difference, right? But yes, we have to have a conversation about how much wealth can I mean, even though I said we shouldn't care, but can we have people more wealthy than nations in the world? Is that healthy for the world? That's a much bigger question. I don't. Yeah, man. Kidding me? Any idea how much money Tesla has saved in advertisement by Elon being so popular and so front and center for so long? I mean, it's got to be billions and billions of dollars that has been saved by Elon, not, you know, I really wish this was timestamped so I could step over this, but they're still politicking, and it's really good, actually. I think Andrew is making some fantastic points, and Charlemagne is moving over, right? Because he came back with, yeah, I see what you said before, which I like, by the way. This is good stuff. Good stuff. Elon doesn't have the ego to operate behind the scene. He doesn't have that. He doesn't have it in him. That's why, like, if you think Elon is even if you believe Elon is the richest American, or even the richest, he's not the rich. He's clearly not the richest person in the world. If you believe he's the richest man in America, real money, actual real money, we don't know. We don't know. That's old money. That's old. That can all be fixed. And if Elon had gone in and done that, I mean, again, like I said, I've said that before, right? That was like the fact that Elon and Trump could make it a partisan issue to cut fraud and waste and abuse is a feat, unbelievable feat. Unbelievable. And no, it's not on everybody else, it's on them. There was a million better ways to do that. And no, you didn't have to go in and slash and burn. You have to leave a legacy. A legacy. No, I would just get dumb. But it is also called brilliant idiot. Yeah, we have lived through that experiment and it doesn't work. We've lived through it. Doesn't work. Reagan's trickle down, Clinton's supply side, call it whatever the frickety frack you want to call it. It does not work. It just doesn't. Doesn't work. It doesn't come down. Economies, like everything else is built from the bottom up. The stronger the foundation, the richer the society becomes. The more educated the population is, the more innovations that the society can create, the more on the cutting edge of everything that you can have your society, the wealthier everybody becomes. Or, of course, you can just, if you're lucky enough to pull it out of the ground, and then all of that wealth is then shared amongst all the people in the country, as it is in, seems like at least in a lot of the Arab nations, and certainly it is in North. It's not just taxation. Part of the ways that they make that profit is by not paying a living wage. It's not just about them not being taxed. It's of them exploiting labor. So they don't want to pay it in they no longer want to pay it in America, so they go somewhere else to exploit labor. So it's about them not wanting to pay. There are all kinds of ways that you can subsidize things, and there's mixed economies that do it way better, like in Europe and freaking even China. But this it's not just about taxation. It's about one of the reasons that they have this massive, unbelievable amount of profit is because they don't fucking pay people. Be as greedy as you want. Like, how are they greedy? So they are greedy by low work standards, by not paying people right, by not following environmental standards. Be as greedy as you want. That's really not the that's that's not the smartest thing he said during this podcast. Can we just all agree on that? I don't. But I mean, they got to do it on the fly, and I don't know. He's eating some I don't know some CBD chocolate out there. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, that's not dumb. Profit is made by being able to buy shit cheaper, manufacture it cheaper with all the inputs that manufacturing have, like labor, raw material, rent, and so forth and so on, right? And you got to cut that. And the way that where you can cut the most is always labor or safety regulations. So we chop off a couple of hands and whatever in heavy industry, right? It's not a good idea. Sorry, Andrew. I got to call you out on this one. Dumb idea. It's not about stopping growth. Like, by paying people a livable wage, you have people not living in fear. You have people taking chances, starting small businesses. You create growth. Like, what is this weird fucking thing in America where everybody has to live in fear, and then you hope that out of this fear is a couple bing, bing, bing that springs up? But it's shown that the latest billionaires were all created from inheritance. None of this was new money. It was all old money or reasonably old money. Came from wealth, created more wealth. It's not socialism. Oh, I like. Right. Not unless we get money out of politics. Not unless we get money out of politics. Not unless we get fucking money out of politics and we get districts that cater to a wide variety of people, not one stripe or another, just to make sure that, oh, I get my candidate each and every time. Because the candidates get dumber and dumber and dumber and more extreme and more extreme and more extreme. Oh, wait, they did actually put in. There's no way. There's no way he would have. There's no way he would have lost to Trump. He was the only Democrat at the time that polled that he was beating Trump the entire time. People would not people would have taken the down. I mean, obviously there would have been a massive smear campaign, right? But people were not going to take a reality TV star over Bernie Sanders, who's been saying the same shit over and over again and had none of the baggage of anybody else. So that was just not going to happen. He would have beat Trump. There's no difference, and we're going to have to do something, right? Because we have a massive amount of automation coming our way, and it's coming very, 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 very fast, right? And healthcare, yes. What are we doing here? Bernie Sanders failed because all he had to do, I mean, failed in explaining that literally we would have less money out of pocket even over our taxes with a different healthcare system, and we would all be healthier for it. It's not $500. We're going to need to stop this nonsense. It has to be much, 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 much more than that, right? No, that's called social welfare. You're talking welfare, and look, fucking dude, this guy doesn't listen. He's been rich too for too long. He doesn't know what things cost. $500 doesn't do shit today. $500 a week minimum. Pay some salaries. Pay taxes, pay salaries. And by the way, the more that they pay in salaries, the less they have to pay in taxes, right? Because that's less profit that they have to pay taxes on. And then they're deciding, instead of having the government decide what the money goes to, they get to decide what the money goes to, and their employees get to decide what the money goes to. Very Republican to me. Exactly. We don't have to tax people more. We just have to remove loopholes, right? We don't have to change. We don't have to pay more for our health care. We just have to make it a different system, right? We don't have to do anything. There's so much money floating around in the federal government that it's just a matter of priorities. And if Elon Musk had gone in and he said, hey, let's have some different priorities, we need to, I'm not cutting anything. I'm streamlining the government for the modern world. We're going to get rid of some of these legacy agencies and legacy departments, and we're going to streamline it for a modern world. Nobody would have objected to that. No one. So that's a great point, right? So there's two areas that you have to attack on this, right? You have to attack on the corporate profits, or you have to attack it so that the people get paid more, right? So I don't know if there's a way that you can incentivize, or you kind of do that by raising taxes and trying to hunt down the money. So then you try to incentivize by giving some kind of tax break for the more they pay their workers. I don't know. But that seems to me to be something that you need to do. But anyway, it was very interesting to me to see Andrew Schulz kind of break with that right wing, and he's or certainly expressing it much more forcefully, given that that very pro Trumpian thing that has been going on here in the Rogan sphere and in comedy in general, or at least in the comedy that is fed to me. Uh, anyway, that was fantastic. I don't know how and what I'm going to do with this. I'm going to edit it, figure it out. But anyway, fantastic. Thank you for watching. And yeah, I don't know what I'm doing now, but we'll see. Maybe I'll post it directly like this, or maybe I'll edit it. Anyway, thank you. Bye.